5 years. That was how long it had been since I'd hugged my mother, heard my father's laugh echo through the house, or sat across from them sharing coffee without a screen between us. Every birthday call ended with the same promise. "We'll come next year, sweetheart." Every Christmas they said airfare was too expensive. Every summer there was another reason. Dad's back. Mom's blood pressure. The roof needed repairs. My younger sister, Claire, had just had another emergency. I believed every word because believing was easier than accepting that I had become optional. I moved to Seattle at 28 after earning a promotion that nobody in my hometown thought I deserved. My parents had hugged me at the airport, telling everyone how proud they were. At least that's what they said in public. Privately, Mom whispered, "Don't forget where you came from." Dad added, "Family always comes before work." Promised it would. I kept that promise far longer than anyone deserved. During those 5 years I never missed a birthday. Every Mother's Day I sent flowers. Every Father's Day I ordered tools or fishing gear he'd casually mentioned wanting. When the washing machine broke, I paid for the replacement. When their heating system failed during winter, I covered the repair bill without hesitation. Claire, meanwhile, lived only 20 minutes away from them. She rarely visited, but somehow she was always the favorite. "Claire just has so much going on," Mom would say. "She's under a lot of stress," Dad would add. Apparently my stress came with a salary, so it didn't count. One rainy Tuesday evening after another 12-hour workday, I was video chatting with Mom while eating microwaved pasta. She sighed dramatically. "I don't even remember what your apartment smells like anymore." My chest tightened. "I miss you too." Dad leaned into the camera. "We're getting older, Emma." Something about the way he said it terrified me. "Then come visit." Silence. Mom exchanged a look with him before speaking. "We simply can't afford the flights." Without thinking, I smiled. "I'll buy them." Both of them froze. "What?" Dad asked. "I'll pay for everything." "You don't have to." "I want to." Mom's eyes immediately watered. "Oh, honey. I'll book business class." "No, economy is fine." I said business. Dad laughed. "Our daughter spoils us." Those words made me feel like I was 12 again. Finally I could give something back. That night I spent nearly $4,000. Round-trip tickets, airport transfers, travel insurance, dinner reservations overlooking the harbor, a weekend cabin near the mountains because Mom always wanted to see snow-covered forests. I even took vacation days months in advance. For the first time in years, I counted days instead of deadlines. I cleaned every corner of my condo twice, bought new towels, filled the refrigerator with Dad's favorite orange juice, stocked herbal tea for Mom, placed framed family photos in the guest room. I wanted them to walk inside and immediately feel like they belonged. The morning of their arrival, I stood outside the airport clutching a handmade welcome sign like an excited child. Flights landed. Passengers poured through the gates. Families reunited around me. Children screamed with joy. Couples embraced. My smile remained frozen. The crowd grew thinner, then disappeared. I checked my phone. No messages. I frowned. Maybe baggage claim was delayed. 20 minutes passed. Then 30. Finally my phone buzzed. "Mom." I answered immediately. "Where are you?" Her voice sounded strangely cheerful. "Oh, sweetheart. Are you still inside?" "Well." A strange feeling settled into my stomach. "We're actually at Claire's house." I blinked. "What?" "She surprised us." "What do you mean?" "She insisted we stay with her for a few days first." The words didn't make sense. "You already left the airport?" Dad spoke this time. "Claire picked us up." I stared at the empty arrivals gate. "She picked you up?" "Yes." "You knew." "We didn't want to disappoint her." I laughed once. Not because anything was funny, because my brain refused to process it. "I've been standing here waiting." "Oh dear." Mom said softly. "We thought you'd understand." Understand? I had spent thousands, planned every meal, taken vacation, waited 5 years. "When were you planning to tell me?" "We're telling you now." Dad interrupted before I could respond. "Claire has the grandchildren, Emma." "I know. They've been asking to see us." "So have I." Silence. Then Mom said something that lodged itself inside my heart like broken glass. You don't really need us the way Claire does. I couldn't breathe. I needed you enough to pay for the trip. Another silence. Finally Dad cleared his throat. We'll come see you next week. Next week. Like I was a tourist attraction squeezed between family obligations. I took 2 weeks off. Oh. Mom sounded genuinely surprised. We forgot. Forgot. The word echoed in my ears long after the call ended. I stood outside the airport holding a sign that suddenly felt ridiculous. People walked past, giving sympathetic smiles they assumed were for delayed travelers. They had no idea. I drove home in complete silence. When I opened my condo door, everything I'd prepared greeted me like evidence in a courtroom. Fresh flowers. Guest room lights glowing. Homemade lasagna cooling in the oven. 3 mugs waiting beside the coffee machine. I slowly picked up the framed photograph I'd placed on the bedside table. It showed Claire and me as children. She was smiling at the camera. I was looking at her. Even then, always looking at her. Always trying to catch up. Always hoping. My phone buzzed again. Claire. A photo appeared before I even opened the chat. My parents sat around her dining table laughing while her children hugged them. Caption. Family together again. Red heart. Thanks for paying for Mom and Dad's flights. Couldn't have done it without you. Below it came another message. You can visit this weekend if you want. Face with tears of joy. I stared at the screen until the tears finally came. Not loud sobbing. Just quiet, exhausted tears that landed one after another onto the hardwood floor. I cried for the money. I cried for the vacation days. But mostly, I cried for the little girl inside me who had spent 33 years believing that if she loved her family enough, eventually they'd choose her first. That night, unable to sleep, I opened my banking app to review the charges I'd happily made weeks earlier. The confirmation stared back at me, each payment another reminder that I had funded a reunion I wasn't truly invited to. I was about to close the app when a new notification appeared. My father's credit card had just been used at an upscale jewelry store across town. The purchase amount made my stomach twist, and the merchant's location wasn't anywhere near my condo. It was only a few blocks from Claire's neighborhood. Before I could convince myself it was a coincidence, another message from Claire appeared on my phone. A close-up photo of Mom's wrist wearing a sparkling diamond bracelet, followed by a single line that changed something deep inside me. Guess who surprised Mom today? The bracelet glittered under the restaurant lights while my mother held out her wrist like a teenager showing off an engagement ring. I stared at the picture until the edges blurred. Dad's credit card. The one I had quietly paid off 3 different times over the past 2 years. The bracelet. The expensive dinner. The smiling faces. Everything about that photo screamed celebration. Everything except my name. I typed 3 different replies before deleting them all. Instead, I set my phone face down and walked onto my balcony. Seattle's evening skyline shimmered beneath a light drizzle. Normally, the rain calmed me. That night, it only made the city feel colder. I kept asking myself the same question. Why did this hurt so much? It wasn't the money. Money could be earned again. It wasn't even the trip. It was realizing that I had spent years auditioning for a role in a family that had already cast someone else. The next morning, my phone rang before 8. Mom. I almost ignored it. Almost. Good morning, sweetheart. She sounded so cheerful that for a second I wondered if yesterday had been a dream. Hi. We're going shopping today. Sounds nice. You should have seen the children's faces last night. I saw the pictures. Oh, Claire sent them? Yes. Wasn't that sweet? Sweet. That word nearly made me laugh. I guess. Mom hesitated. You sound upset. I'm disappointed. Emma. No, Mom. I inhaled slowly. I paid for this trip because I thought you were coming to see me. We are. Eventually. It's only a few days. It's already been 5 years. Silence stretched between us. Then she sighed. You've always been so independent. There it was again. The sentence I'd heard my entire adult life. Independent. As if needing love somehow disqualified me from receiving it. I never asked to become independent. What does that mean? It means every time you chose Claire, I learned to survive without you. Her breathing grew uneven. You know we love you. I closed my eyes. You do. But somehow love always seems to travel 20 minutes across town instead of 2,000 miles. She didn't answer. After we hung up, I realized something strange. For the first time, I didn't feel guilty. Only tired. That afternoon, I went back to work even though I was technically on vacation. My manager, David, looked surprised. I thought your parents were visiting. They are. Then why are you here? I forced a smile. They changed plans. He didn't ask another question. Instead, he slid a coffee across my desk. No one comes to the office during vacation unless something hurts. His quiet kindness nearly broke me. Over the next 4 days, my parents never once asked to come over. Instead, I received photographs. Dad teaching Claire's son to fish. Mom baking cookies with the grandchildren. Family barbecue. Movie night. Matching pajamas. Every picture arrived with cheerful captions. Wish you were here. Miss you. Next time. Every message somehow managed to exclude me while pretending it didn't. On the 5th evening, Dad finally called. We're thinking of coming tomorrow. Thinking. Not planning. Thinking. I have meetings tomorrow. Oh. His disappointment sounded almost genuine. I thought you took time off. I did. When? This week. Another silence. We forgot. Again. Always forgotten. After hanging up, I opened my calendar. 2 weeks blocked in blue. Vacations I couldn't get back. Then an email notification appeared. Subject. Annual Family Trust Review. I frowned. Family Trust? I hadn't seen that phrase in years. The sender was Martin Hughes, our family's attorney. I almost deleted it before noticing the line beneath the subject. All beneficiaries are requested to confirm attendance. Beneficiaries? I opened the message. A review meeting had been scheduled for the following Friday. Location: Martin's office. Required attendees: Robert Bennett, Linda Bennett, Claire Dawson, Emma Bennett. My heartbeat quickened. I hadn't even known the trust still existed. My grandfather had established it decades earlier before he passed away. When I was 16, he'd once told me over lemonade on his porch, "One day this family will learn that fairness isn't something people naturally choose." At the time, I thought he was talking about politics. Maybe he hadn't been. Curious, I searched through old emails until I found one from 7 years ago. Grandfather's funeral. Martin had written then that all beneficiaries would receive equal updates when appropriate. Equal. That word echoed strangely now. Before I could think further, another message popped up. Claire. Mom wants seafood tonight. We're using the card you gave Dad. Hope that's okay. Face with tears of joy. The card. I hadn't given Dad a card. Then I remembered. Months earlier, during one of Dad's medical emergencies, I'd added him as an authorized user on my premium credit account so hospital bills could be paid without delay. My stomach dropped. I logged into my banking app. Charge after charge loaded onto the screen. Luxury restaurant. Designer children's boutique. Jewelry store. Electronics. Spa. Hotel. Nearly $11,000. All within 5 days. All charged to my account. For a full minute I simply stared. Surely there had to be a mistake. I called customer support. After verifying my identity, the representative politely confirmed every transaction. These purchases were made using the physical card assigned to Mr. Robert Bennett. I never authorized shopping. I understand. My hands trembled. Can you tell me when the card was last used before this trip? She paused. It appears there were no personal purchases prior to this week. Exactly. Dad had only ever used it for emergencies. Until now. I thanked her and ended the call. Then I called Dad. He answered on the 3rd ring. Hey, sweetheart. What happened to the credit card? Oh. He chuckled awkwardly. Claire said it would be easier if we used yours while traveling. I didn't approve that. We assumed. No. Silence. We assumed because I paid for the flights that I'd also finance everyone's vacation? It isn't like that. What is it like? Mom's voice appeared in the background. Who's on the phone? Dad whispered something I couldn't hear. Then Mom took over. It's only money, Emma. Only money. I looked around my quiet condo. Every promotion. Every late night. Every sacrifice weekend. Every holiday spent alone. Apparently all of it had become only money. You've spent over $11,000. We'll pay you back. When? Another silence. Claire suddenly laughed somewhere behind them. Mom covered the phone but not well enough. It's fine, Claire said. She can afford it. Those 6 words erased the last excuse I'd been making for them. Not one of them believed they had done anything wrong. I ended the call without another word. That night I couldn't sleep. Instead, I dug through old boxes in my storage closet looking for paperwork related to my grandfather. Photo albums, birthday cards, report cards he proudly kept. At the bottom of one faded cardboard box lay a sealed envelope addressed in his familiar handwriting. For Emma, only if you ever begin doubting your worth. My hand shook as I broke the seal. Inside was a handwritten letter and a small brass key taped to the page. I unfolded the letter carefully. By the 3rd sentence, tears were already running down my face. My grandfather had seen everything long before I ever admitted it to myself, and what he revealed about the family trust, Claire, and a promise my parents had quietly broken years ago made me realize this wasn't just favoritism. It had been a carefully protected secret all along. I read my grandfather's letter 3 times before I trusted my own eyes. His handwriting had always been firm and elegant. Every sentence measured, every word intentional. Even after all those years, I could almost hear his voice. Emma, if you're reading this, it means life has finally shown you something I've tried to protect you from. I prayed I would be wrong. A tear slipped onto the page. Your parents love you, but love and fairness are not the same thing. Sometimes people mistake convenience for affection. Claire has learned that your generosity will rescue her from consequences. Your parents have learned it too. My throat tightened. I never wanted you to become the family wallet. Wallet. That single word described my entire adult life. He went on to explain that several years before his death, he had rewritten the family trust after noticing a disturbing pattern. He had watched my parents quietly favor Claire while expecting me to solve every financial problem because I was responsible. He hadn't wanted his life savings to reward that behavior, so he had included conditions. One condition. A condition no one except the attorney knew until the annual review meetings. The trust would not automatically be divided equally. Instead, Martin Hughes had been instructed to examine documented financial support given by each beneficiary to the others. Any child who had already contributed substantial financial assistance to the parents could have those amounts recognized before the remaining estate was distributed. Grandfather had written one final sentence beneath it. Fairness should never punish the one who carried everyone else. I sat frozen. For years I had paid bills without keeping track. Medical expenses, home repairs, property taxes, insurance deductibles, emergency loans. I never expected repayment. I certainly never imagined those records might matter. Then I looked at the brass key taped to the letter. Attached was a tiny note. Safe deposit box 214. The next morning I went straight to the bank. The manager verified my identification before escorting me into the vault. Box 214 was smaller than I expected. Inside were neatly organized folders, several USB drives, old photographs, and another sealed envelope labeled simply, Evidence. My pulse quickened. The first folder contained photocopies of checks my grandfather had made to my parents over the years. Beside many of them were handwritten notes. Loan for Claire's tuition. Loan for Claire's wedding. Loan for Claire's business. Each note ended the same way. Repayment promised. The repayments never came. The second folder shocked me even more. Grandfather had quietly kept copies of letters my parents had written asking him for money. Every request centered around Claire. Never me. Never once. Then I reached the USB drives. The bank manager allowed me to use a private viewing room. I inserted the first drive. Home videos. Family birthdays. Christmas mornings. Graduations. I smiled through tears until one particular recording appeared. Date November 18th. 9 years earlier. It began accidentally. Grandfather had apparently left his study camera recording after testing it. The room was empty. Then my parents walked in. Claire followed. None of them realized the camera was running. Dad sighed. We have to be careful. Claire laughed. Emma never notices. Mom answered almost immediately. She notices. Then why doesn't she say anything? Dad chuckled. Because she wants our approval. I felt the blood drain from my face. Mom continued. As long as she thinks helping us earns love, she'll never stop. Claire actually laughed. Honestly, it's cheaper keeping Emma guilty than asking a bank. The room spun. Dad nodded. Exactly. Mom smiled. Claire needs support. And Emma? Dad shrugged. Emma needs to feel needed. Nobody argued. Nobody looked uncomfortable. Nobody defended me. The recording ended a minute later. I couldn't breathe. Every sacrifice. Every overtime shift. Every canceled vacation. Every transfer. Every birthday gift. Every emergency payment. None of it had happened naturally. They had understood exactly what they were doing. For years. I sat there until the tears stopped. When they finally did, something else took their place. Peace. Not forgiveness. Not rage. Clarity. For the first time in my life, I stopped asking why I wasn't enough. The answer had never been about me. It had always been about what I provided. 2 days later, Friday arrived. The trust meeting. Martin Hughes greeted me with surprising warmth. I'm glad you came. So am I. When my parents and Claire entered the conference room, they looked startled to see me already seated. Claire forced a smile. Emma. I simply nodded. Mom leaned over to kiss my cheek. I stepped back. Her smile faltered. Martin waited until everyone sat before opening a thick leather folder. As you know, this is the annual review established under Harold Bennett's trust. Dad cleared his throat. Can we make this quick? Martin ignored him. The trust requires documentation of financial transfers among beneficiaries. Claire looked confused. What does that have to do with anything? Everything. Martin adjusted his glasses. For the past decade, Ms. Emma Bennett has provided documented financial assistance totaling $486,312 to her parents. The room fell silent. Mom blinked. That can't be right. Martin calmly slid a binder across the table. Every bank transfer, invoice, credit payment, insurance payment, repair invoice, tuition contribution, medical expense, and authorized card statement has been verified. Dad stared at me. You kept records? I didn't. Martin answered for me. The financial institutions did. Claire shifted uncomfortably. Martin continued. Meanwhile, Ms. Claire Dawson has provided financial support totaling $3,200. Claire immediately protested. I have kids. Martin nodded politely. The trust accounts for that. Dad looked irritated. What exactly is your point? Martin folded his hands. My point is that Harold Bennett specifically instructed that beneficiaries who had disproportionately financed family obligations should not be financially disadvantaged again during estate distribution. Claire's confidence disappeared. What does that mean? It means the preliminary allocation has changed. He turned another page. The adjustment significantly increases Emma Bennett's share. Dad's face hardened. This is ridiculous. Martin remained calm. It follows your father's written instructions. Mom looked at me with wide eyes. You knew. I found his letter. Her expression changed instantly, not to guilt but to fear. Claire leaned toward me. You wouldn't actually take more than your fair share. I looked directly into her eyes. For years you defined fair as me paying while you enjoyed the benefits. Nobody spoke. I reached into my bag. Slowly. Carefully. Then I placed the laptop on the conference table. Martin looked puzzled. So everyone understands why my grandfather wrote those conditions. I opened a video file. I think we should all watch something together. As the hidden recording from 9 years earlier began to play, the color drained from my parents' faces. Claire stopped smiling before the first sentence was even finished.